Hi friends, this is Chris.
And Yuji.
Welcome back to the channel. So Donald Trump and Elon Musk had an interview today together, or a conversation, because it wasn't really an interview. It was kind of a love fest, to be honest. And essentially, they are officially friends. We talked about this before, where Elon Musk is giving Trump like 45 million a month. We don't know the exact number. They argue about what the exact number is, but it's clear that Musk is supporting Trump, and he even said so in several times in this thing. It was about 2 hours and 6 minutes, so it was very long. It started 40 minutes late, which they're lucky to even get the thing going. But it finally went going, and what's your overall impression of what you heard?
First of all, I'm not sure that's an actual interview, a live interview, because it could be recorded.
Yeah, okay.
And I don't know. Trump keep talking about his friends. It's like Kim Jong Un likes him, He likes Kim Jong Un and Putin. So what's going on? You're living in USA, but you wanna friends with Kim Jong Un and Putin?
Yeah, that stuff was weird, and he's done that multiple times. So this isn't the first time where he just like, and some of the quotes were like, yeah, when I was talking to Kim Jong Un in North Korea, he's got all these great things that like you've never seen. He's like kind of excited about it, and it's weird.
Yeah, he wants to be a king basically, and he likes to execute people. If people say no, you just okay, you're gone.
But that's always been, we've always wondered that about Trump. He has that kind of tendency.
Yeah.
He gets really angry at people. He doesn't like when people question him and things. And so, yeah.
I wanted to say, talk about the Korea situation. These days, the Kim Jong Un, North Korea, keeps sending like poop.
Oh, yeah.
They already, 2 days ago, they sent another one.
Oh, I didn't know this again?
Yeah, new one. Yeah, new poop balloon.
So they literally put poop in like
garbage.
Yeah, and then they fly it over and then they drop it on us.
Yeah, but the sad thing is, in North Korea, people still die of hunger.
Oh.
But we offered them to send them rice, but they said no.
Right.
But I don't know. They keep sending like 10만 원, about the $90 to spend the poop balloon here.
Oh.
But they spend like money on a poop balloon, but they don't.
Right.
They don't spend money
to feed people.
Yeah.
It's a good point. Yeah, we make joke about the poop balloon, but when you put it in terms of like, you can be spending money to help your own people, or even let South Korea help, like send food or whatever, and they don't.
They just had a huge flooding, so everything is destroyed and no food there. But
and when talking about Kim Jong Un, Trump was saying, yeah, when I met the guy, he said he had this big red button on the desk, but I told him I have an even bigger red button on my desk.
So is that I have bigger nuclear bomb than yours?
Yeah.
Is he supporting that? Is that me?
So the other thing too, and this is something that Musk and Trump kept repeating, is they really like guys with big militaries and who are strong.
They didn't even serve the military.
Yeah. No, I know. Trump got out of his military service 5 times, right? He had his dad, hire a doctor to make a fake prescription that his feet hurt, kind of thing. It's so ridiculous. But when you make these kind of videos, I understand there's people who love Trump and they're allergic to facts. They say, fact, you. Yeah. But, let's have the honest conversation about these things. If you want to go through the whole interview, it's easy. I'll tell you guys. You find any publication out there, any reputable one, and they fact check Trump. It's multiple lies, the same stuff you've heard over and over again. So I'm not going to go over every single one of them, but I'll say it's a lot. But some of the things that stood out to me was, he repeats the same thing, talking about Trump here, that we have all these bad illegal immigrants coming into the country. They're killers, they're murderers, and that he claims that other countries open up their mental hospitals and jails and send all the criminals and crazy people to the USA. And the other one was a really obvious. Is they're like, yeah, and the bad ones, they come from Africa, Middle East, and Asia. But where they don't come from, what did you say?
Europe.
Yeah, so
any country of Europe, they who is said, just Asia.
Yeah, so basically the dark
Africa.
people are the bad ones.
Yeah, dark, not even dark, brown.
The brown people are the bad ones, but the white ones, we're not going to talk about that. They're the good ones, and and Musk, was talking about how, we want immigrants that have high skills, et cetera. And so it's, why does that matter? Because, and just I was telling you, like, if you guys, say just use history, the idea was that, hey, the Puritans from England, they felt like they couldn't practice their type of, religion in England, so they went to USA. They wanted a place to practice a religion, meaning that sometimes if someone faces persecution in another country, that's a place that USA could go to, right? You could go there. So,
Yeah, America's Native American.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. If you want to talk about, it's not even necessarily, European country. It's a Native American, because when we talk about these things, I know it's sensitive topics, but it is something that people aren't really honest enough about with the immigration stuff. So Musk and Trump make all sorts of claims about immigrants. So the other one was a big one as well, was like this idea that Trump says, if you vote for me, I'm going to deport means kick out, like the most immigrants in history. Like I'm just going to kick out everybody. And the thing about this, which people aren't honest about, is if you kick out those kind of people, who's going to be your gardener, your nanny, the farm workers, all of these like low-paid jobs, and what's going to happen?
You're not going to do it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to do it. You're going to do it? No.
Do you think regular Americans will do those jobs? And the question that I would pose to you is, what would happen to inflation if you couldn't pay someone, say $1 an hour or whatever, and suddenly had to pay someone, $10 an hour or whatever, right? And that's something that people aren't really honest enough about. There's a lot of jobs out there that Americans don't want to do, and some of these people come in and fill said jobs, right? It's a complicated issue, but I'm just saying that's something that they kind of skirt over. What's that?
In England right now, UK, they have writer. Big right. I think it's one of causes.
That was part of the Brexit situation. Yeah. Because according to Musk, and if you watch the thing, Musk is like, the reason why we have inflation is because government, spends too much. He kept saying, too much spending. That's why we have inflation. And there's multiple causes of inflation. So, for example, guys, what happens if we go through COVID, and suddenly, we don't get food from other countries, or we don't get, chips from other countries, or we don't, ships don't operate, or, we don't have anything open, right? Everyone's sick. That causes inflation because there's less supply, right? That would be one cause. Another example would be, what if we print up a whole bunch of money?
You see?
Yeah. And Donald Trump signs his name on said checks because he really wanted to make sure his name was on the check. And so then we send all those checks out to Americans, and suddenly Americans have all this money, and they're sitting at home, and they're like, hey, I'm going to order stuff on Amazon all day, or I'm going to buy doggy coins and stuff like that, right? So, I'm just giving you a couple different causes of inflation. It's not just the government thing. The funny thing about Musk, if you guys watched it, it sounded like Musk wants to be part of Trump's government if they get elected.
I think both of them want to be like tech king, just king.
Yeah. Trump wants to be the political king, and then Musk wants to be the tech king. Because remember, Musk is complaining about government spending, right? So he complains about it, and then in the same term, what was that?
Yeah, then he's saying, oh, if you want to spend money, just spend on me.
Yeah. He's like, Musk is like, we got to inspire this country. We got to be thinking like moon bases, we got to be, and Trump's like, oh yeah, moon base, and then it's like Trump, and then Musk is like, we got to dig more tunnels. Oh yeah, tunnels, and so it's kind of ridiculous for us to say on one hand, the government's spending too much money, but then like, if you spend money on my companies, well, that's fantastic. and that's the kind of stuff to where, in a real interview or a real discussion, you actually say, hey, I disagree with you, right? Like it doesn't mean you have to fight, but you don't just be, oh yeah. So there was an issue, guys. Trump went to the Black Journalists Association, and he was delayed going on stage, and they told the public that it was a mic problem, right? So that was true for 5-10 minutes. They fixed the mic situation, but the real reason why he didn't go on stage is that the reporters wanted to fact check Trump. Like if he's saying something that's not true or false, we want to be able to fact check you, and the Trump people wouldn't agree to it. So eventually they finally got him on stage, and then that's when Trump basically said a bunch of crazy things that he always says, and then he went into hiding for a week, basically. Because if you don't know, the one I'm referring to, he's like, oh, I didn't know Kamala Harris was black, and I don't know what she is, like that kind of stuff. And it's just like, it just, you could say, in English we say like put your foot in your mouth or shoot yourself in the foot or whatever, that kind of stuff. The other things that stood out to me as well with this stuff is like, Trump kept like complimenting Elon on his companies and how awesome this stuff is, etc.
If you give anyone who gives him money, he's gonna,
Yeah.
we say lick the ass.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, English we say kiss butt, but
Kiss butt is,
we know what it means.
Yeah.
So it was interesting to hear like the love fest, and I think for many, because a lot of Musk fans out there, I think they're not used to hearing someone like Musk basically like, I don't know if what the words be below, I don't know if that's the right word, but just really overly compliment someone a lot.
I see.
So that was kind of, I don't think I've heard that before either. It was a bit strange, right? Because Musk likes to portray himself as I'm the boss and I know everything.
They had a country fight,
Yeah.
If you're president, I give you a certain amount of money. There's no law for you.
I mean, it could be because they complain about this stuff too. So basically, Musk and Trump, they call it lawfare, but they'll be like, why do people want to sue me? If, I should be able to do whatever I want. You shouldn't be able to sue me. And Musk kept going on and on about how he thinks regulations are bad, and regulations hold the country back, these kind of things. And I mentioned this before several times on the channel, so I need to talk about so if Musk builds, for example, a robot car, and if there's no regulations, we don't test it all, the government doesn't even look at it, and you say, oh wow, innovation, then we just let him drive his robot cars and it starts to kill people. Mm-hmm. I mean, Musk would be like, well, that's the price of innovation. That's the price, right?
Yeah, you don't kill your family.
Yeah, I mean, but you're helping Musk, succeed. It's just a small sacrifice of your family. So that kind of stuff I think is kind of ridiculous. The other one is like as well where, the Musk situation where it says I don't like laws, I don't like regulations. So one of the other things about inflation, which should be a big issue for everyone. So I actually agree that's a big issue. Trump even said, it was kind of weird because Trump said that's the most important issue, but then he doesn't spend that much time on it. He just complains about Biden and he complains about, immigrants and complains about people trying to sue him. So it was.
I'm sure that in his Tesla or whatever, like SpaceX has a lot of immigrant, high educated, people there.
Yeah.
A lot of Korean, Indian,
Yeah.
Chinese.
Yeah, he hires a lot of foreign engineers.
Yeah.
And a lot of the ones, well, a lot of those companies, and at Twitter was an interesting one where all the Americans quit, and then the non-Americans at Twitter couldn't quit because they're.
If they had visa situation.
Yeah. So, but regarding the whole company thing is, monopolies can also cause inflation, right? So, for example, let's say Trump sets up some sort of system where Musk is the only company in the world, for example, because he's an awesome guy or whatever, and then the said company with monopoly can have any price that they want, right? They can buy out other companies, etc. They can offer you things, and it's like you have one choice. That's it. It's a monopoly. So, I believe in regulations. I think it's there to protect people, right? So, the reason why the Musk stuff becomes so important is because he's a con man. I don't know how to say it, right? So he makes these big promises, takes all your money. Because if Trump gets elected, I don't think it's crazy where suddenly he starts promoting. Because
What happened to Elon? He used to be a really great CEO.
Well, that's arguable. Well, he was different. We'll say he was different. So.
What happened to being a couple of years? He's been I don't know.
Okay, well, you bring up a good point though. To the average person, they think of Elon as being a great CEO.
Yeah.
To the average person, right?
Average person.
No, I don't mean to imply that he's the average person, but many people have that kind of impression of him, right? So the thing with Elon, he's good at selling stuff that doesn't exist. We call it vapor. We call it vaporware, right? So he makes a lot of promises that don't come true. So for example, what's that?
Some of them comes true. That's why electronic car and space.
Well, they come late and they come overpriced.
Yeah, but actually.
And they don't work exactly as advertised.
Yeah.
See that? So what's that?
He's good at marketing.
Yes. Well, but it's false marketing. So JC doesn't follow stuff as I do, but it's good for you to talk about because it's your impression of him. You're like, hey, he's got a car. Yeah, that's your impression of him.
Yeah, car, but it's not. Tesla is not only electronic car in the world.
Well, okay, so back in like 2016, so
Yeah.
that's like 8 years ago.
I'm sure that during the time other companies working on that, but they not really over like exaggerate talk about we're gonna have like
Right.
electronic car.
Well, the big one is the robot, the
Yeah.
driving part,
Yeah.
right? So basically, they advertise that it works, and then he was going out saying, hey, it'll go from LA to New York, and you don't have to touch the steering wheel, etc. It's just not true, right? Not every company out there makes all these promises that aren't true.
Okay,
It's false advertising.
back to the interview.
Yeah. No, but it's part of it. No, but it's good. It's good for you to express your opinion on those sides, like your impression of like, oh, he's a great CEO,
Yeah,
right?
still a lot of, I don't know.
People
like,
think that?
Or like average people, they think Elon is the great CEO, but what happened?
Well, Elon's rich,
Yeah.
right? And so a lot of people associate being rich with being successful, right? Which, it's how you define it.
Yeah.
Because that's why the same people also vote for Trump. I would agree, Trump and Musk are rich.
Yeah.
I wouldn't disagree in these things, right? But the issue with this kind of stuff, right? So say the Trump situation is, what if Trump lies about his money? We actually don't know how much he's worth. We honestly don't know. You'll see different estimates. Usually when someone becomes president, they release their taxes. That's like a kind of a normal thing. He didn't.
Yeah.
He was the only president that didn't. It was strange, right?
Okay.
Part of the lawsuits against Trump were that he would say my house is worth 10 times more than it was, and then you would get a loan based on a fake estimate of your house or your properties or whatever like that. And then what people say to defend Trump, they say, well, everybody does that. Everybody inflates their property values to get a ton of loans. And so these kind of things, it's like it depends how you define successful, right? Does opening a casino is that successful? And it's funny we're talking about this stuff because people always say Trump's a good business person, et cetera, right? For me personally, I would not do the casino business, right? Because it's gambling. Let's be honest, it's gambling. Right? I'm not,
For money, not. No.
But it's gambling. Like a lot of people, lose everything on that kind of thing, and that's a question I would, pose to you. Are there some businesses that you would not do because you don't want to be associated with that kind of business, right? Another interesting one to talk about would be like, hey, would you want to own a cigarette company?
Yeah.
For example. So gambling, cigarette, these kind of things, and that's up for debate. But I'm just saying, when we talk about successful people, right, or when Musk, falsely advertise things, that kind of thing. The other thing too, which I thought was interesting, is like Musk kept saying, yes, and if we don't vote for Mr. Trump this time around, we're gonna lose our country. So
Wow.
yeah, so and there's no really nice way to say this because I'm usually fairly polite.
Yeah.
I'll just say this. I grew up in rural Oregon where there are just racist people. That's just the reality of how it is. And there's a lot of people out there who are white, and they look around and they say, wow, look at all these not white people. And I see more not white people. And I feel like the country isn't white anymore. That's how these people feel.
It was a brown initially.
It was, and there always have been brown people in USA, but
Yeah.
but they feel like if brown people get to certain levels, it just
They feel uncomfortable.
Yeah,
They
yeah,
take
that's
over
it.
their.
that's basically how it is, and it's a very, very complicated topic.
Yeah.
Because I'll give you a quick rundown. Basically, we had World War II. Most of the world was destroyed, except for USA. Okay. London was bombed. Germany, or we say UK was bombed. Germany was bombed. Japan was bombed. China also was bombed. They went through war. Korea was also in the war.
Yeah.
I mean, it was multiple countries in the war. Many countries in Europe were in the war, right? USA profited very heavily from World War II. And then after World War II, all the factories are still intact, and we started sending food and products all around the world. I mean, they got really rich from
Yeah.
this. It's just the history. So the 50s were actually a booming time for the USA because we had all these factories selling other countries' products to rebuild. And then it extended into the 60s, et cetera. And then it was a much easier time as well. However, I got to make this really clear. If you're a white American, sure, you can go to universities, you can get a job. But if you're not a white American, guys, it was real. Their schools were separated. They were.
You can't even use the toilet.
Yeah, they had separate bathrooms. Like, this is part of American history, and for some people they don't think that way. Like you know, a good example, and I get emotional on this stuff because it's like people purposely forget history.
Yeah.
So a good example is people say, oh, you know, Babe Ruth is the greatest baseball hero and the baseball player of all time. Like, some people, you know, say that, but it's like, well, there were many black players. I'll give you an example of Josh Gibson, for those of you who know your sports history. Excellent black baseball player. But he never really got a chance to prove himself because he wasn't allowed to play. There was a fantastic movie, one of my favorite movies I've ever seen. It's called Soul of the Game. I think it's based on a book also, but it's about when they wanted to bring the first black player to play with the white players. Who were they going to pick? And they had three choices at the time. There was a pitcher named Satchel Paige, who was a little bit old. He's good, but he's just old. There was Josh Gibson, who was probably the best player, but he had like mental problems. In the movie, they portray it as, which I completely identify with, in the movie version, I don't know the real version, but the movie version, they portray it as he never got a chance to show how good he was, and so it just always created mental problems. And I understand that kind of dilemma. That's a long story. You can read my book on why I feel those kind of things. And they went with Jackie Robinson, who's an American hero.
Yeah.
He was a USC graduate. He was a military officer, and he represents like really positive things about the U.S. I cry about it, but if you guys understand the Jackie Robinson story, it's a good story. Anyway, the point being though is that there's a group of Americans out there that think that only the white people accomplish things, and the country's no good if too many brown people or women, you know, come to positions of power. And it's a really uncomfortable discussion. I grew up in Oregon where people used to like yell out their car windows of tell brown people to go back to Mexico, that kind of stuff, or tell, you know, people from California they're bad. It's like because they were this, how to say it nicely, they were rural Americans with no job skills. And we're also in an era too where if you don't have any job skills, your job doesn't exist anymore. Like, because the factory jobs have gone to other countries or replaced by robots.
Yeah.
Right? It's a couple different things. And so it's so ironic because Trump, part of the talk with Musk was like, if you vote for me, I'm going to bring back all the jobs and you're all going to have a job, etc. And he's talking to a guy, Elon, who's building robots to take your job. Like literally, the robot cars to take your driving jobs and the robot, you know, humanoid robots to take your factory and other kind of jobs like that. And it's such a weird thing if people actually sit down and just think about what we're talking about here. And I can make a separate video because there's an important point that I looked up just recently, so I was kind of curious. We talked about how much does an average factory worker make in Vietnam, and it's like, you know, maybe they make $5,000 a year, you know, maybe, you know, $6,000. That would be the expensive factory worker, like at a Samsung. Maybe the cheap factory worker, or, you know, regular worker. And say, I use the example of Vietnam is like maybe $3,000 a year, just in that range. You know, the thing is, like, Elon Musk tries to sell you a robot. If these things ever work, they probably won't. Try to sell you a robot for $30,000. It's like, so then you're saying, okay, we're in other countries like in Vietnam or, you know, Thailand or whatever. They're going to spend $30,000 on this robot that may or may not work when you could just hire someone for $3,000, right? And you guys be the judge of that. And so, and plus you have all the social problems of you know, removing these people from the workforce. I know these are long discussions, these are difficult discussions, but that's kind of the stuff that they talked about. And the whole time, like, if you're a fan of Musk and Trump, you just agree with everything they say. The problem is, like, in the Trump situation, he just makes up facts all the time, basically, which is a problem. So Musk, when I was listening to it, I don't think Musk makes up any facts or anything. At least I couldn't tell, but he doesn't challenge Trump on any of the things, right? And the other thing which I thought was really interesting about it as well is like just how long the conversation went. 2 hours and 6 minutes. It was really long, and it just, you know, to me, Trump just sounded like that crazy uncle at the Thanksgiving table that just complains about too many immigrants taking over the country and taking people's jobs. That's how people, and I don't know if Koreans, they complain about, oh, those Chinese workers are ruining Korea.
Complain about government, immigrants.
Yeah. Coming about government, immigrants, that kind of stuff. Yeah, I mean, Trump complained about, you know, I mean, there's so many crazy things that Trump said, because we always say, you you know, Chris, why do you always say Trump is crazy? And all you have to do is listen to the guy. If you know, people actually did, because there's some people that just, unfortunately, they believe everything that Trump says and
Yeah.
agree with him.
Yeah,
right?
they don't think, you know, it's told it's like religion. You just believe everything.
Yeah, because you know, there's too much to go over, but the one that they point out right away was like, you know, why does Trump like Kim Jong Un so much?
Is it?
It's weird, right?
Why he's bragging about, oh, I'm so close to Kim Jong Un and Putin, so you
Yeah,
guys wanna be friends with them?
I know
You say?
it's weird, right?
You say friends with like North Korea?
And this is also something. So Trump wants to withdraw the USA from NATO, right? Because he thinks we spend too much money on said things. But then he acts like he would stop Putin. But it's like it doesn't make sense. If you're really strong against Putin, you'd be, you know, moving our troops into Europe and like saying, yeah, we're gonna be, you know, awesome and you're not gonna touch us. But like he keeps threatening to pull our troops out of Europe. So it doesn't really make sense. But
He wants to have a new line, you know, North Korea, Russia.
yeah, and USA, maybe. But there's a lot of things about Trump that don't make sense. And from Elon's point of view, though, I do think Elon is rational, meaning that I think Elon's in this for Elon.
Yeah.
I don't think Tesla's a priority because why? Just listen to it for yourself. If you want, I advise you not to. It's 2 hours long. It's not necessary. But he doesn't really push that hard of like talking about, you know, his like, hey, Mr. Trump, we should all drive electric car, or hey, Mr. Trump, you should build a network of electric, you know, vehicle chargers.
I think his goal now, you know, his goal is just to make him a president, then he can, you know, have a lot of benefits.
Yeah.
That's the goal, I think.
But I don't think it's electric cars.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be moon bases and tunnels and robots. And then Trump kept talking about AI. He kept saying, oh, you're in that AI stuff. So I don't think Trump
That's
knows
the
what
thing,
that means.
Yeah, that's the thing only he knows, AI.
Yeah, maybe. Anyway, so that's some thoughts on this. Like to hear your guys' thoughts, and we'll catch you on the next video. Okay, bye.
Bye.